So if you're sitting back thinking, okay, I want to get involved in real estate, I want to be a real estate entrepreneur, I'm going to encourage you to zoom out and say it starts with being an entrepreneur. This is a podcast episode on the natural progression of wealth in real estate. And it's not what you think. Most people think, oh, I want to get into real estate. I want to listen to Bigger Pockets. I want to go buy my first house. I got a job. I want to go buy my first house. I want to buy my first storage unit. I want to buy my first industrial building, multifamily, whatever it might be. And let me tell you that there's a common theme among the people who get very, very wealthy doing real estate, and it's entrepreneurship. I want to tell you about a couple people, two people that I know, and a couple people that we all know. These are 5 people who have gotten very, very wealthy through real estate. I guess I might as well tell my story. I'm not one of those 5 people, but my story is I started a pickup and delivery student storage company. We were moving boxes. We were scrappy entrepreneurs. We did that for 4 years. And in 2014, 15, we had about $400,000 of our own capital sitting aside in a checking account. We went out and raised another $500,000 and we built our first self-storage facility. That business, that entrepreneurial venture, not only taught us a lot about management, growth, how to make money, how to make good financial decisions, but it also put another $250,000 to $400,000 in our bank account every year that we then dumped into real estate. So my journey was small business, real estate. Another guy I know was an entrepreneur, scrappy entrepreneur, and just out of college, he was selling a bunch of t-shirts that he had a unique artist that he was working with that could create some very unique t-shirts, and he was selling them out of the trunk of his car, built up an apparel company, screen printing, an apparel company, sold it to Fruit of the Loom for multi-millions of dollars. Then he used that capital to get into buying and flipping and selling big shopping centers. We're talking not strip malls, but shopping centers. And he's now probably worth $30 or $40 million. Another guy from my small hometown, one of the people that I really look up to, started by building houses. Built a house for somebody, sold it, built another house, sold it, built another house, sold it. He was running a construction company, literally doing the framing, hiring the electric, building the houses, built up cash that way. And you fast forward 20 years, he's building and buying and selling nursing homes and has built insane generational wealth. Now let's talk about a couple people that everybody knows. You might, not everybody I guess knows, but this is, I'm holding up a book if you're looking at the YouTube video. It's called Risk Game by Francis Greenberger. Talks about his journey into Manhattan real estate in New York City. Came from an immigrant. His father had started what's called a literary agency, I guess, a publishing company. And they used the profit from that small business, which was very profitable and grew. And Francis grew that business to buy their first large apartment building in the 70s in New York City when nobody wanted to get into real estate. The list goes on. I mean, Donald Trump, we know him as a real estate baron. His father started as a home builder in New York City, literally building houses, a construction guy, construction company. He started a construction company that then became the development company that began holding real estate and that Trump took over later on. Sam Zell, one of the most famous real estate investors of all time, who went around buying up tons and tons of apartment buildings, office buildings, an opportunist investor that now deploys billions of dollars after the great financial crisis and has made tons of money in real estate. He started when he was in law school by managing a 15-unit apartment building. He was in property management. That's how he started. That's his small business, his small sweaty startup. He managed a 15-unit apartment building in exchange for free rent, and then did it well and started managing for other local owners. By the time he graduated, he was netting $150,000 a year. The rest is history. He dumped money from that small business into real estate. Now, this is a theme. There are many people who are listening to this that might have a W-2 job. And I'm not saying at all that you cannot generate serious wealth in real estate using a W-2 job as a backer. But more often than not, massive real estate portfolios where you're buying, in my case, 45 self-storage facilities over 1 million square feet that we'll own, and I'm 32 years old. In the two people I know who are both worth more than $50 million, the Francis Greenberger, who built skyscrapers in New York City, a billionaire, Fred Trump, that story is obvious, and then Sam Zell, who's a multi-billionaire. Nobody understands that almost all the people who get into real estate have a bunch of cash. They have a bunch of cash. That cash came from somewhere, and I know that it came from entrepreneurship. It came from small business. You don't just wake up as a 25-year-old like I did with 400 grand in the bank without running a small business. W-2s just don't do that. You don't wake up one day being able to buy giant buildings in New York City without getting the cash from somewhere. Now, if you're lucky enough to be born into a wealthy family, which Sam Zell was, Fred Trump was, Francis Greenberger was, if you're born into a wealthy family, you have a leg up because either A, you have a family business, or B, you have that capital already that was created by that family business in the case of Donald Trump. It all comes down to the capital. Where did it come from? But another part that's not talked about enough is actually what you learn by being an entrepreneur. I look at my sweaty startup that wasn't worth very much money and generated a little bit of cash for me, but was a super pain in the ass, a hard business. I look at that and I realized that the money was extremely valuable, but even more valuable is what I learned managing 6 full-time employees and 150 part-time employees every year with the student move in, move out, the logistics, leasing the warehouses, finding the boxes, getting everything that needed to happen, working as a team. We did we did well at it for years, and that allowed us to attack real estate, which is a much simpler business, with confidence. We knew how to lease up a building, how to run a facility remotely. We knew how to hire a team. We knew how to delegate. We knew how to compensate good talent. We knew how to build a company and grow and scale. And real estate is a great business, but it is a business, and you have to know how to do business. So if you're sitting back thinking, okay, I want to get involved in real estate, I want to be a real estate entrepreneur, I'm going to encourage you to zoom out and say it starts with being an entrepreneur. It starts with building up a war chest of cash, because cash is the fuel for real estate. It keeps you out of trouble in real estate. If you run out of cash, it's game over. You can't buy anything without a balance sheet, without borrowing power. A bank won't let you co-sign a loan. So you need to, as an entrepreneur, as an investor, you need to think about entrepreneurship. Consider yourself an entrepreneur, whether that be starting a small business, a sweaty startup. Go back and listen to the Sweaty Startup podcast. It's all about small business and entrepreneurship and management. Or get in touch with somebody else who has, that can fuel your growth. And there are a few people who have gotten started not with a small business, but I think more often than not, most of the capital that's poured into real estate came from somewhere else. Hey guys, I have big news. I recently revamped my sales and customer service team at my self-storage company using folks in South Africa. Listen to this English accent.
Hi there, my name is Anton and I'm a sales professional from Gqeberha or Port Elizabeth, which is in the eastern province of South Africa. I've been in sales for about 8 years now with experience in hardware sales with some of the leading brands in the world, such as Canon, Panasonic, and more recently, Red Bull.
Okay, now the surprising part. The person you just listened to is available for hire right now, and they're asking $9 an hour. If you want an introduction, if you want to hire this person into your business or at least interview them, send me an email, nick@sweatystartup.com, and I can make an introduction and offer you $1,000 off the recruiting fee. nick@sweatystartup.com.